are going to start with a very inspirational talk given by Gerd Bommer. So get ready for this keynote by someone who brings capital with commitment, clarity with courage, and the kind of experience that has been earned. Gerd Bommer, our next speaker, has spent over 20 years building international bridges for business, from Vienna to Dubai, from US to Finland, from Italy to Pakistan, from Romania to Latvia, has driven economic diplomacy and supported startups from idea to impact. Not once, not twice, but over a dozen times. I think he said even a little bit earlier during the panel that he's on to his 14th or 15th investment right now. He doesn't just talk about investing other people's money. He has the skin in the game. He's the one that also makes the investments. He doesn't just advise, he builds with the founders side by side. He is known for being direct, hands-on, and refreshingly real. Today, he's here to create awareness for one of the most overlooked business opportunities of our fast-growing startup ecosystem, and these are you, the female founders. He'll show you a female founder business case, highlighting what investors are looking for, what you should focus on for yourself and your business, and what you should expect from an investor. Please give your full attention and round of applause to Gerd Bommer. Thank you, Gerd.
Thank you very much for the introduction. The microphone is already on. As I said something before in the comment, I guess I have to clarify something. I said I left my corporate job some short time ago, and I went fully into startup investments. As I have been in a corporate environment, I didn't talk about it. My LinkedIn profile doesn't talk about it. I started 10 years ago. I founded my investment holding more than 4 years ago, and I'm going for my 13th investment right now, and I'm going to go on from there. So that's what I guess I have to correct here a bit. And the other thing is I actually took my own Sophia to Sofia, because my own Sophia is not this one, but it's the one in the pink shirt back there. That's the business case actually that we have here, and she's here with us. What I'm going to talk about right now with you is the funding the female future, the business case for investing in female entrepreneurs. Why is it useful? Why do I do it, for instance? And let me start this with trying to find out how the clicker works. Let me start this with saying something that all of you female founders know. The only constant that you have in your business is change. There's an underfunding cost right now in female founders not being present enough in our environment, and the underfunding cost by some people is called 25% of the worldwide GDP. That's the underfunding gap. I don't want to know how someone came up with that calculation, but might be right. But the thing that I see right now and why I shifted and pivoted myself is the changing economy. It's shifting with a massive speed. In a few years, we will not be able to recognize the economy anymore. You're going to win if you work with AI. You're going to win if you're going to be fast. You're going to win if you disrupt in innovation, if you go for innovation. And if we talk about CEE, because most founders here, I guess, are from CEE, who is a founder in here, by the way? Who is a founder of yours? Oh, that many. That's great. And we got one male founder here. I'm going to have a coaching session for you afterwards, if you give me one as well. All right. And what we see right now is partially we have best idea versus best execution. So what I see all over Europe is that there is many ideas that are being brought up in many cities. And the best execution is actually the one winning. Success factors, I'm going to talk about the success factors that you're going to have as women. And can you just instruct me a bit where I have to point with the yes? That's good. So let us put a base to this. Data says, how many founders are there? Female entrepreneur share in the world? 11%. In Europe, below 6%. 14% of all the million-dollar revenue startups are founded by female entrepreneurs. You're overrepresented by far. 35% higher ROI produced by female founders. You're overrepresented by far. Funding, 2%, and that is the higher number, is from the US, 1% from Europe. 22% is the outperformance that female founders have in health tech startups. 65% of the female startups post-accelerator succeed versus 48% of men. And what's the 70% therefore? 70% of female founders never ask for funding. Not the bank, not an investor, nobody. So you also have to come to us, not only us finding you. So that is the data. I guess I'm gonna, are you switching for me or do I manage? I manage somehow, I don't know how. So what are the winning traits? You're usually much more creative than men, and I don't mean in fashion industry, I don't mean in art, I mean real creativity, finding solutions for a problem. That's what you need. Because what the founders here, when they talked, what they're going for is a pain point, a problem. This is what I look for. This is one of the big points I look for. You're frugal. How many CFOs in Eastern Europe are female CFOs? Because you manage resources better than men do. And I know what I'm talking about. You have more EQ, you have better social skills than us men. You're much more purpose-led. One of the first things we look for as investors is the purpose. We don't look for a business idea, we look for a purpose. You're grit-built and you're focused. So usually you go longer, harder. But to give you an insight from an investor, so let's have a perspective change from your side to mine now. What do I do as an investor? I'm out there alone. I'm a lonesome cowboy out there, believe me that. I know one other guy who does what I do. I invest into you. I invest into people. I do not invest into business models or something like this. I'm not looking for, you know, whatever great idea. I'm looking for people who can carry out what we decide, what the idea is, and then it comes to actually the business model. The business model is execution. So this means, how do you do it? And scalability, yeah, sorry, I don't invest into manufacturing companies and the return might be so high, but it's a long-term game, it's an expensive game, and still not 100% of them succeed. So let me go to the case study that I have here, and I'm super proud to have Sophia back there. Sophia and me, we've known each other for more than 9 years. Sophia is truly a visionary founder with royal heritage, which helps a bit in that project. But then Castilla is what? I love this, celebrate uniquely and make historical experiences accessible to all. Castilla actually celebrates history in a different way and heritage in a different way. So what Castilla does is it makes history accessible to everybody, and that's the business model. There it is, and that's the business model. And we already see that the fortress we have there is not only fortress on one side, but we have a digital mesh on the other side, we have drones around it, and there is kind of computers in it. We have heritage transformation. So what Sophia actually does is she turns liabilities into assets. And why is that? Sophia worked in an art gallery, comes out of a royal heritage family, and found out that most of the heritage assets, the castles, the fortresses, the historical sites, the heritage sites, are actually liabilities to the people that own that. And that's where she stepped in and she said, it can't be like that. We have to change something here. And that's what she tries to change. And that is the purpose that she goes for. She's in the back, she films me. I'm here, Sophia. All right, so what does she do with it? She says heritage has to meet innovative technological solutions. And that's what she does. She blends the history with cutting-edge AR and digital experiences. So what she does, and she never heard that before, she hears it now for the first time on stage, she goes from royalty to a new reality in history. And the cultural preservation is something that Sophia talks a lot about. So for her, this is kind of the passion that she has. And let me talk shortly about passion. Sophia has it, and she wants to give a modern appeal to the historical venues. So what she wants to do is, the young kids that are out there, the youth that is out there, that is not interested in such sites, get them interested again with technology, with AR, get them in with storytelling. So what she does will be storytelling with ROI. She's in a startup right now. One of the founders talked about passion before. When you talk about passion, I had a discussion, and then someone told me, Gerd, you're completely wrong. I told both my kids, when you study, don't listen to your grandparents. Don't even listen to your parents, what they say. Go for what your heart says. Go for what your passion says. Do what you love. Do what you like. Because you're going to be better, and you're going to be more successful. So for all you founders, think about two things. Define what success means for you, and define what happiness means for you. Because I do not invest because of the money. When I invested, people asked me, how do you plan the exit? I said, I don't care, not at all. They said, why? I said, because I do it for the ride. I do it for the development. I don't do it for the money. So this is what we're actually doing here. What hooked me with Sophia? And now we get to what we're going to hear later on in the perfect pitch, and what we already heard from the founders. Purpose and impact. Okay, you find a pain point, but the pain point has to have a purpose. And for the one who uses it, it has to have impact. You have to change something. If you don't change anything, you're not finding a pain point that is, out there to be solved. Passion. I remember we sat in the basement of her grandmother's house. I don't know how many times and how long, how many hours. And she told me about it all the time. And she was like just telling, and you couldn't stop her. And I said, this girl got grit. This girl got perseverance. She's going to go through. And then she tells a story. So what did Sophia do on stage here? She gave a picture into your mind. She said something. She's not in here anymore, I guess, Sophia. I didn't see her anymore right now. But she said something that I would change in the wording. She said, I want you all to have a piece of us on you. No, you will all have a piece of us on you. That's the story that you tell. This is where it starts. Scalability is something that I look very much for, because scalability means that we can go far, long, high, diverse, and everything else. And soul is the brand. So what I do with the clicker is not clear to me, but anyway, what is the vision of Castilla? So to just tell you, give you a short insight, the North Star vision. The North Star vision is out there. It's what you want to achieve. That's what Sophia wants to achieve. But the problem behind it is execution is done step by step by step by step, right now, right here, not in the future. And you cannot leap. I'm sorry. You cannot leap. Investors, partners can make you leap a bit, but you cannot properly leap. Direction beats perfection. What does that mean? Always keep the direction to your North Star. I'll give you one example of a startup of mine where the founder said, I told him, you have an MVP out there in the App Store, and you might want to change this and that. And he said, Gerd, if you're not embarrassed for your MVP, you've gone out too late. Okay, so it's also partially a game. Diverse revenue model and global expansion is what I actually looked for in terms of long-term vision. Yeah, investor meetings, dear female founders, it's not about you being a female, it's not being personal, but it's actually clarity and not kindness that you get. It's the clear openness, it's like the partnership that you get, and it's a wake-up call. So when we ask questions and we ask tough questions, and I can find, within 2 minutes with asking questions to you, I can find one really bad point in your business model. This is about to find out what is going to kill you in the future and how to avoid it then afterwards. Crying founders, I'm not going to give any names right now, but I had already a founder starting to cry, fall around my arms and say like it's also tough. That's what I tried to prepare Sophia before a bit for. It's going to get tougher. It's going to get much tougher. And then when you think that you made it, the next punch in your guts comes along. Believe me, one thing, I started 10 years ago to invest into startups, and I nearly failed 2 months later. That is 10 years ago, and my track record now is pretty good. So go through it. Back your story with numbers and traction. That actually means, in the end, traction, KPIs, that is execution. And that's what I meant beforehand. Don't just raise, align strategically with your investors. Strategic alignment means, for instance, you look for partners, not only the checks, but for value beyond the capital. So who thought about maybe an industrial partner? I have 2 startups, one that is out there right now, and they say if we make the first steps, we're going to get a partner that's going to invest €1 million or $1 million in us, but we're not doing the first step. Gerd, please invest into us. And I said, I'm not going to invest in you because I cannot get you through to the point. So what do we do now? We bring him closer to where we are with another startup. They're going to work together in a year's time, half a year's time, he's going to be there where he wanted, but without the money. Smart money scales, look for, there's pre-seed VCs out there. There's VCs with venture studios out there. There's sweat equity out there. There's business angels that actually go in. I'm going to be entrepreneur in residence in a short time. So that's what you're actually looking for. Go for experienced challengers. Go for investors, partners, mentors that have the experience. You have to get out of the EFFS one time. Friends, family, and fools. You have to go to mentors. Find mentors that actually challenge you. It's not harsh. We're not being personal. If I say something to you that you have something to change somewhere, it's not personal. It's for your venture. So that is something that you have to keep in mind. And the phased approach. Don't let funding rounds kill yourself because you have one funding round after the other. Plan it 1.5, 2 years ahead. I'm having my own game here. So one slide for Sofia especially. Explorare in Latin, ex means actually going out, going away. And plorare means cry, whine, lament. So that actually means when you explore new grounds and you go for a new solution, you're going to whine a lot. You're going to cry a lot. You're going to even maybe cry physically and in real. Go through it. This is what resilience means. Resilience is the one word that was missing here, and they all have it. Resilience does not mean resisting. Resilience means that the wind that blows into your face shapes you the way you act. Resilience means you bounce back to higher grounds. That's what resilience means. So this is what you do there with Explorare. And I want to give you now two things. One, what do you have to look at? We always talk about women and men. I'll give you one statement of a former employee of mine who said, like, Gerd, it was always wonderful as a woman to work with you. And I said, why that? And she said, because you completely ignore the gender. And what was my answer? Okay, I'm real and direct. I said, I'm not paying you for your gender, I'm paying you for your performance. I don't care what gender you are. You have to perform. But as a female founder fire test, what are the things that you need? You have to focus, maintain the clarity. Perseverance, resilience, I was already there. What is fear? We talked about it. I'll give it to you one more time. Forget everything and run? No. Face everything and rise. Failure is there to get you up to higher grounds. Failure is a learning opportunity. And don't get failure out of your language because of that. Maturity is another thing that is out there. Make balanced decisions. Make intentional decisions. There is growing up and there is being mature. That's two different things. I have a keynote about it. And the being mature, and I have to disappoint Sophia now with her 18 years of age, your prefrontal cortex is only going to develop until you're 30 years of age. And the prefrontal cortex is the one that lets you plan, make decisions, and actually is the rational one in you. And it only comes out with 30. So think about what made you successful when you were young and when you grow up, because growing up doesn't mean losing the spark in your eyes. Doesn't mean losing the fire. Maturity means actually that you do things with intention, with grace, with precision. That's what you should do. And mental and physical health, know your rhythm, know yourself. Do a personality test. Read what Bob Proctor says with his 6 higher faculties. Think about your mental health. You heard it from Maria. Maria said, I sleep more. And that's the one thing that I actually wanted to tell you. You got only one health, and I'm going to show it to you like this right now, because you only got one health, because sleep is not scalable. And what I want you to do is actually when you relax and you have fun, have it intentional. Don't have it all the time. But when you're finished with it, look like this. Look like really relaxed, or like, as I called it, madly in love, something like that. So burnout prevention is, can be treated and is scalable. Prescribe Life is one of my investments. Prescribe Life is the MVP, so download it today. Prescribe Life is the MVP, where he said if you're not embarrassed for it, you're just out too late. 1/3 of the founders experience burnout. 60% experience burnout syndromes. Think about it. Know what you do there. And my last slide that I actually have out there for you is your playbook for success. So the one thing is a vision that lands. Learn to pitch. You can't imagine what I go through. You can't imagine how often my heart hurts, my stomach hurts. I hear pitches where it's like, oh my goodness. One of my startups sends me a pitch, 18 pages. I tell him, what do you want to do with it? Yeah, we want to find investors, and we want to find, for the sales, we want to find customers. And I said, that's two different worlds. You have to give him two different pitches. So I changed the pitch completely. I brought it down to 9 pages. I brought the topics together. I structured it. Do that. Learn to pitch. You have a pitch for your investor, you have a pitch for your customer, you have a pitch for your family and friends, you have a pitch for the global world. Different pitches. You have 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. Learn to say it in one sentence. Learn to say it in one sentence what you're doing. Try it. Ask ChatGPT. Go for it. It will take you forever. It will take you hours. Know your investor. No cold pitches and strategic alignment. So I read a LinkedIn article where he said that if you do 2 investor calls a day, you're never going to get funded because you need 1,000 calls a year in order to get funded. And I was like so close to writing a comment, but I thought like I'm not going to tease the tiger now because I don't think so. Go into networks. That's the point underneath. Find the networks. Find female networks, business angel networks. 600 female VCs are in the European landscape. Find those networks, align with those networks, work with them. Female investors are 3 times more likely to fund you. Start there and don't end there. Yeah, like I'm not afraid to invest into women. You shouldn't be afraid to have men as investors. And then cash is oxygen. So there's 2 games out there that will kill you. One instantly and the other one successfully. Liquidity will kill you. Keep it as an eye. So first is liquidity, later on it's cash flow, by the way. But in the beginning it's liquidity. So that's what you have to look for. The second one is market. I had a startup that told me, we don't have any competitors. And I'm like, as an investor, when you say like, I don't have any competitor, it's like, oh my goodness, that is, either no market, yeah, or you're the first one. I don't know if that's so smart. 3 days later, I call him. I say, like, do you know that brand name? He said, like, no. I said, $300 million US turnover? I said, why? I said, your competitor, direct competitor. Do your homework, learn it. Roadmap, define, test, fail, learn, iterate, get up. And one word on there, don't forget it, pivot. Don't be afraid to pivot. Company came up to me, said, we're not successful in B2C, we want to pivot to B2B. And the first thing I said to them is, congratulations. And they said, why? I said that you had the balls to come out with that. 3 months later, they were break even. Yeah, so ladies, fuel the mission that you have. Be the spark. Don't lose it. The fire is in you. Make it visible and make it investable for us. And look at this heart. The heart is your vision and the brain is your mission, the execution. Thank you.
I am pleased to introduce Anne-Charlotte Joubert. She is the CEO of Wonder Fund. She will present the Air Fund program, which started in Sofia 1 year ago. Anne-Charlotte is a dear friend, is one of the women who started EFFS. It's a wonderful support for female entrepreneurship and a great inspiration for everyone. So thank you and welcome her.
Hi, good afternoon. What a pleasure to be back here. I don't know if I'm going to use that. Maybe I will just also improvise and play with the clicker. Yeah, let's just wind back a bit to 2022. I mean, we are here today. It's such an impressive milestone, what we achieved over the last 3 years. And I'm so proud of all those ladies in the room. I mean, we maintained the cap. It's not been easy because we all have lots of things around, growing businesses, full-time jobs, kids, friends, and ourselves. So it's so important that for me to be back here in Sofia, it feels like we were talking about with Laure earlier, like it's the birth of everything, right? Almost every year we are here starting something, and today it's another milestone, an amazing achievement, and I'm so proud of all of you ladies. thank you also to all of you who are joining us today, who don't know about us. It means a lot. I mean, we are doing this for you today who are founders, investors, leaders, but also for our kids. Whether we have boys or girls at home, I think we are building the path for their future, and it's so meaningful why we are here today. And I'm so much looking forward more of that. So I'm here today because we haven't done anything before creating the association. So back in it's been quite a long journey back in 2022 when we met here. 36 brave founders, ecosystem builders, leaders, believers, dreamers. We launched the European Female Founders. You saw the 3 pillars, so quite big ambition, and we're like, okay, how on hell are we going to do that? I mean, we need money, right? Lucky me, my expertise in European funding. I love that. For me, it's an amazing tool to create things, to collaborate, whether you work on research project from science, whether you benefit from it as an EIC, on the EIC to grow your company. It's amazing. There's so many programs and calls which give you an opportunity to do something and to make an impact. For me, her fund is one of that. Everything we've dreamed of through the association, through those 3 pillars, we put it in her fund. And we got lucky enough to be selected, and I'm going to talk a bit more about the project today, how we achieved it. As Laure said, we kicked the project last year here in Sofia, 8th of March, with AmCham and Maria Gabriel, who's always been an amazing support for us. And 1 year later, I'm going to tell you what we've been achieving. And I'm so proud of all the people who are working behind this project, because it's not just me coordinating that project, it's everyone behind who make it happen every day, not counting the hours. We go way beyond the initial budget we have, but we have one mission, we have one purpose, to change the way we do things and change the narrative for every single one of us. So, okay, I'm going to play with that. So why do we do that initially? I mean, clearly investing in women is not only a gender issue. And I think the previous speakers talked about it very well. It's clearly an economic opportunity. There's some figures that you already heard that I'm going to present now. And clearly, we know that female entrepreneurs, on average, they generate 150% more revenues for each euro of investment than men. I mean, it's not only about bringing more girls or women on the stage in the market. It's really like we are lacking economic benefits there, especially in a world where we're struggling. So, I mean, clearly there's something to do there. As it was said before, venture firms with women partners are 2 times more likely to invest in women-led businesses. I mean, there's a lot of reports, there's no science rocket there. You invest in what you feel like you can mirror to, right? So if the room is filled with men, women pitching, with men pitching, clearly they will go to their buddies. So we need more women being decision makers and investing in other women. We know that closing the gender gap in business, and it was also said before, I think we have 1 point difference, but it doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't make a big difference. Closing the gender gap in business could increase GDP by 26%. Again, I mean, these are figures, they are based on reports. So why are we still talking about we should invest in women? The figures are there, reports are there, we know mixed team perform better, and yet we are here. 17.4%. 17.4%, it's the average of deep tech startups over the last 10 years in Europe. That's amazing. I mean, it's like a fourth, or less than whatever. But anyway, and these figures basically goes to less than 25% only in 2022. So clearly, I mean, look at all of you in the room. Amazing, brilliant mind, creating new product, making impact for the market, and this is where we are. Then we have 15%. We talked about having more women at the cap tables who are decision makers in VCs. Only 15% are represented decision makers at VC firms. And it goes down to 10% in business angels. Where are we? And and obviously that leads to having only 11.4% of capital going to diverse teams. And we all know about this 2% going to female only. So clearly, there's more than just a female problem here. And I'm really sad to see only a few men supporters in the room, because we all know what we're talking about here. But where are they? Because if we don't work all together, we won't change that. I mean, yeah, in 300 years, right? If climate change hasn't killed us by then. So basically, this is what we are looking at in our fund. We are addressing the gender gap in investment and for investors and women entrepreneurs. And we call it gender-conscious investors exactly for that reason. Because, of course, we need to have more women at the table, but we need to work as a group, as a society, if we want to change the playground for our kids in the future. So the project, as I said, started March 24 in Sofia here, bringing amazing partners from 9 countries. And so you can see here who are there. And I'm so grateful for that team that we put together. Many of us are also part of the female founders, and this is why we also brought this consortium together. We wouldn't be where we are today without this team behind. Our objectives, so basically we're here to build a community of gender-conscious investors, for sure, but also of all ecosystem builders, of all stakeholders. We need to work all together to change the innovation ecosystem, to create a society that is more gender equal, where everyone has a chance to thrive. And we do that around 4 main objectives. So we are here to looking at closing the gap between the company needs and the investment, the funding that is available for women-led companies. We do it providing a comprehensive analysis of the ecosystem, because of course, if we want to change things, we need to well understand what are the challenges, what are the pain points, but also what are the opportunities. We do it by connecting women-led companies with investors, and I thank a lot the DRBG team for creating an amazing digital platform. You will have an opportunity to join it today. And obviously, we create a pan-European community, because only together we will be able to work. We will be able to make the change. We do small baby steps, but it's still a step. So over the last year, we've been very active. We've launched a bunch of initiatives, and we are not stopping there. So the first phase of the project, we dived into the current situation. How does the ecosystem in Europe look? We proceeded to interviews. We had surveys, questionnaires, and this led to the preparation of a series of reports. Everything is available on our website. We created guidelines on the ecosystem, looking into public-private initiative. We listed existing places that you can tap in if you need it. Obviously, it's not exhaustive, and we are really like keeping up to update on a daily basis, or as much as we can. And we also provided financial guidelines, recommendation for the founders, for the local authorities, and for the investors. So, yeah, so all the reports are downloadable on our website, and on the digital platform, you can also have access to everything. Then we also developed some training based on the outcomes that we found. We were like, okay, let's create new training. And I know there's a lot of programs existing out there, and it's not about creating new programs. It's really like, okay, what do you need as a founder or as a future investors that is missing a bit? And how can we also collaborate with the other projects and initiatives out there to make sure that we are complementary, that we work together, and that we promote one another? In the end, we are building a joint community, right? So we designed and tailored those programs based on the needs and the challenges that we identified. We had our first pilot earlier this year. We handpicked 30 future investors and founders. And that we really on purpose had a small group, because we really wanted to collect feedback, making sure that we could really tailor everything that we are designing. Then, based on the feedback collected at the end of the project, we reviewed a bit the program, and we just launched our second cohort through our digital platform and e-learning modules. And the program is currently being run. However, if you join the platform, you have access to the module because obviously we want the most of you to benefit from that project. So here you can also, I think we have one QR code that goes to everywhere. And then what we're preparing next, so for fall 25, we are looking to create and design a coaching and mentoring program. This will be exclusively for the people who've been part of cohort 1 and 2 of the project. And it will target both the founders and the investors. So what we are doing currently is that we are hiring and recruiting people who want to help coaching and mentoring future investors and the founders. So please, if you are interested, reach out. You can also come directly to us. But it's very important that we work together. Then we have a bunch of webinars as well, because beyond the training program, there's also opportunities to learn from us through webinars. So we are opening really to the entire ecosystem. And these provide opportunities to, everything is also on our website. These basically provide opportunities to also learn from experts on the field. David, who's going to give a pitch session workshop just after, will also come back on the Her Fund project later in the fall as well, and I'm super grateful for that. Okay, this one I will. And then we have the Her Fund talks. And I think this is one of our key flagship initiatives, and I'm really grateful, Milena, that you take the role there because you're really amazing. And the idea there is like, we were talking about role models. So we really want to give the light and the space for women leaders, founders, investors, ecosystem builders. We also have men participating in the program, and I think it's amazing to hear that voices as well, because they are here to also show the path for others and to inspire. So I'm really, really happy that we launched this podcast series. Then, as I mentioned before, we had our digital platform. It's our one-stop shop and easy access to our pan-European community. It's in a beta version, obviously. We launched the platform end of February, early March, and it's really here for you. So, okay, so please join it, make it yours. It's really easy to use. There's even a tutorial. It's basically a mix in between a LinkedIn and a Facebook platform. You can create groups, you can invite friends, you can learn from others, you have access to a lot of material, and we aim to also develop further features. So please make it yours. Don't hesitate to share whatever you see. It can be report, it can be events, it can be stories. It's really made for the community. And because we are restless, and because we really believe that together we can continue this journey, in a couple of days, actually 1st of July, we start another project, Scale Her, which is basically a little sister to Her Fund, focusing on deep tech scale-ups in Europe for female founders. And I think it's going to be a quite challenging project for us to put in place. We kept dreaming, and I think we dreamt a bit further step. But it's going to be amazing, creating a lot of opportunities for the ecosystem in Europe. And really we're going to really build this project to help you scale, making sure that we understand your needs, trying to put you in contact with the right people. There's going to be blind audition competition. There's going to be programs, women entrepreneur roadshows, innovation visits, and so on. And I'm so much looking forward to this project, despite all the challenges that that's going to come along the way. So thank you again for the invitation. Thank you, Monica. I don't know where she is, but I mean, I think together we are really changing. And I welcome you all to join us reshaping the future of female-led innovation. Thank you.
Okay, I think we're going to play it agile and just jump into the next session. And I would like to invite our investor panel to join me here on stage. So, Anne Charlotte, Maria Marinova, then we have Alexandra Ikonomova, and we have Genoveva Hristova, and we have online Boriana Gaizgori. If we could put her as well. There. Okay. Yay. Welcome. So, Anne-Charlotte, thank you for preparing us. Let me just, before starting, I wanted to share a couple of points with all of you. It's really a privilege to have this conversation today because it's for real that we do have already investors. We have moved from last year across the table, and I have to tell you, I personally myself have started the journey from founder to now becoming an investor as well and building a fund. And this is so exciting to see the reality of it and to see this materialize. But we know that also across Europe there is a raising awareness. You saw some of the figures, the facts. There is a raising awareness about backing women, and that backing women is not a charity, and I want to emphasize this. It's actually could be a clear strategy for growth and for competitiveness and for more opportunities. And yet, despite of that data, despite of all of the proof, despite of the returns, despite even the energy that we see across the ecosystem, we still do not see enough capital flowing into some of these companies. And over the past year, as Anne-Charlotte mentioned, I've had really the pleasure and the privilege to be hosting her Fund Talks podcast. I've interviewed and spoken with at least, at the moment, 25 investors, founders, ecosystem builders, policymakers at very key levels of governance across the continent, across Europe, also from the US and other markets. And I have to tell you that women do not lack ambition, as we've heard before. This is one. Women do not lack ideas or resilience. What they very often lack is this sweet combination between lack of infrastructure of the belief that they can make it, matched with the capital that is invested in that. And also, this is very interesting because it's something that is usually very often taken for granted. When I mean, it's somehow part of the real world. It's part of the reality. It's part of everyday things, and we do not realize how important it is. And I think we were discussing earlier that we would like to see more focused strategic investment coming, because it will mean that the ecosystem has grown, it has matured, and it is recognizing where we need to put our efforts and to put the money into what. So today's panel, Women Worth Backing, is not just a question of recognition, but a deeper look at how we want to design or look at investment opportunities and systems that actually deliver on inclusion. And I would like that we speak very candidly about, are there any biases? Are there opportunities? are some of the challenges within us? Are they objectively there? Are there some resources we haven't been able to tap into? And let's begin this conversation with some, not with some of the assumptions that we've talked, but with the understanding that the challenge isn't a lack of capable women. It is a system that hasn't recognized or enabled their potential. So let me start by inviting here with a few points, each one of you to introduce yourselves, how you see yourselves and why do you think you are on this panel. And this I didn't warn you, but I know that you are entrepreneurial. So I will start with Alexandra, with Alia.
Thank you. Well, first of all, it's a big honor to be here. Thank you very much. My name is Alia, and I'm a serial entrepreneur, and as of recent, an angel investor. And recently, I started a project called Negotiate Like a Woman, which aims to create the biggest open source database in the world with real case studies of women who negotiate, where women can go, younger generation women can go and search based on context, meaning age, cultural background, industry, etc., so they can prepare for their own negotiations. I started this project 3 months ago, and we already talked with hundreds of women, and we've gathered massive data on the topic, and I think it will be very valuable to discuss some of the insights with some of the questions you've prepared, so I'm very excited to see what comes out of the conversation.
Thank you, Alex. I actually know Alexandra from our accelerator, from Beyond Accelerator, and she's the founder. And when I saw some of her thoughts and articles on LinkedIn, I thought, wow, this is a great way to look at investment, because this is a different way how she is, in fact, investing heavily, bringing that awareness and also supporting women to understand where the bottlenecks are for them to find other investment. So let's go then to Boriana Gaitsgori, who is on the screen. Bobby,
Hi.
thank you for joining, and you'll see how impressive her role is. Please go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm very grateful. I don't know if you can hear me because I don't
Perfectly.
hear myself.
Perfectly. We hear you perfectly.
Okay. I'm very grateful for the invitation, Milena. As usual, you know how to bring the right people to the right places. I am on the other side. I'm an investor. I have managed to bring a Silicon Valley fund to Eastern Europe, especially to Bulgaria. And with more than 25 years of investment experience, as a woman, I have to tell you, there's so very few women that reach out to me or to us and have gathered the courage to ask for investments. I'm here. And no, I will not invest just because you're a woman and because your startup is backed by a woman. But if your startup is worth investing in, you can be certain that I will move the world to not only get all the funds that are required, but to make sure that all my personal connections are opened to use to get your startup to a successful traction moment.
Thank you. And Boriana is part of the GP of the VO Venture Partners Central and Eastern Europe firm. So they are the first, actually, Silicon Valley global investment firm that is opening a new entity in Central and Eastern Europe. So thank you, Bobby. We'll continue the discussion after that. Then I would like to ask Maria Marinova to introduce herself and say how relevant is that she's here. Why is she here on this panel?
Thank you, Milena. It was amazing to hear also, everything that you're doing, and this whole summit on women is incredible. I mean, it's really building up every time, I think, from this conference as of last year. My name is Maria Marinova. I am a director, a board member at BVCA. This is the Bulgarian Private Equity and Venture Capital Association. We work with all active fund managers in Bulgaria and Southeast Europe that invest in startups and scale-ups. We try to also build bridges with the Bulgarian diaspora. We work with organizations to help them, and with people, of course, with investors, with the corporates, and basically every Bulgarian that's willing to, help and mentor and really pick their brain into how to better develop our ecosystem and help our startups and scale up, go to different markets and exit, of course, afterwards as part of the whole VC and PE world. I'm also part of female founders in Vienna. We mentor women and girls, and really this topic is really dear to me. I've been in the industry for 8-9 years now. I'm seeing how evolves or stays the same sometimes, but there's really something going on there. I've been also on the advisory committee on FMFIB, which is one of the LPs in Bulgaria. So I would like to also give on that perspective more on the LP and GP side, so meaning institutional investors and the venture capital funds. And last but not least, I'd like to think of myself also as an entrepreneur, inspired by what you said. As when we were starting BVCA, it was really like a startup. So I'm happy where we are, and we try to also work on the women representation in funds and startups as well.
Yes, thank you. As we were discovering that it's very important to build these links between the ecosystems, both for the founders but also for investors, in order to become more efficient. Genoveva Christova, whom all of you, I guess, know in different capacities. Geni, thank you for joining this panel. It was unexpected to ask you to be on the investors panel, but I think it's exactly what you're doing, right?
Recently, recently I've started doing, and by the way, I promise to congrats Todor for being here, because and thank you very much, because on the way to the room I invited few men, but he was the guy who really did it. So congrats to Todor. Okay, applause. We need men here. Come on. So thank you very much. So as Milena said, in the latest years I became really investing also in women businesses, because I've been a woman entrepreneur for 20 years. Wow, 20 years, yeah. So I become now like 20 years ago when we started, right. So, but it's 20 years, and it was a long journey, and I would like you to not to make the same mistakes, right? And to do it more efficiently and, faster. And I'll just give you one example, if
yes,
I may.
please, go ahead.
So we've been, I think nearly all of us been last weekend in one very powerful event in Varna. At least, yeah, Maria Milena, the bridge, yeah, right? Yes. And on the bridge, at the end of the day, I just asked, so I was brave enough to ask the organizers, where are the women role models? They were male-dominated event, right? There was Yvette Lalova, but Yvette Lalova, okay, she is role model for other things. And you know the answer, girls. The answer said, really, we haven't noticed. We haven't noticed. Okay, I noticed. So I asked the question, and I said, okay. And then I talked to Milena, we are starting leading this initiative for next year, and we won't leave it like it is, because there are so many good examples. And I can tell a lot about this, because we just need to be more, okay, exactly the courage, and need to be more out there. So we need to speak more out, and the communication has to be much wilder. And as Anne-Charlotte said, so it's all about communication. We need role models, entrepreneurial role models. Not just, okay, we know each other, right, but who else knows about us? So there is a lot to be done, and I've always been there. And I'm so happy I can share the latest investments, and I'm so proud because there are so many bright girls. So we just need to show them to the world and to keep speaking about this.
Yes, thank you, Gani. And now Anne-Charlotte is our the last speaker on the panel. I think you heard from her, but maybe Anne-Charlotte, we've been together in the Her Fund project. And we've started a number of, we actually tried to scale some of these ideas. And we've been thinking about, traditionally about investment. But in her fund project and in Scale Her, we also recognize some other ways to create investment opportunities. Can you share from your point of view, how can we expand also the thinking of what does it mean to invest in women-led enterprises and the models that we have right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think, and it's been said before, right? It's about collaboration. It's not, I mean, of course it's about money, but it's about opening doors, as it was just said, sharing networks, daring to ask for something, and I'm probably the first one who's really bad at that, taking care of one another. And if you know that, I mean, somebody is, I don't know, developing a company in a sector where you have connection, where you have contact, just reach out and like, okay, how can I help you? Who can I put you in contact that will be a door opener? We need to have door openers for women, and we need to be much better at that. I was at an event, I think it was during Nordic Women in Tech Award in Oslo, where there was a workshop on cybersecurity, I think. And anyway, there was this lady who was explaining what she was doing, and she was talking about, you know, like if you go to events, you meet people. And then when you want, for instance, she was giving an example of somebody who's hiring, and you would talk to your friends, oh, okay, I need that skill, or I need that talent. Do you know someone, or do you know that person? Like a guy who would have met someone at a conference was like, oh yeah, of course, just go for it. It's amazing, you know? And if it's a woman, you would say, well, yeah, I kind of met her once, but I think she could be good. But, you know, you don't really go for it. And that's what we need to change as well. We need to back up one another. I mean, we are all brilliant. We all have our skills, our capacities, and so on. So I think opening doors, facilitating, helping with our brains as well is something we can do. But when it comes to money, and this is something we are exploring as well in Her Fund, I didn't put it on the slides because we are still discussing, we like challenges, right? So we're still discussing how we're going to do it. When we wrote the project, we were like, yeah, let's do a fund for women. We need to have more women investing in women, as I said. So in the project, we said we're going to create a syndicate. Honestly, exactly. I have no fucking idea how we create a syndicate, really. But we are all here, collective thinking, and you know, we were also mentioning other initiatives, and we work very closely with other projects, and we know other networks. And there are networks, other projects, building syndicates, or David, you talked about it, I think, in one of your sessions before, crowdfunding. I mean, we just need to start collecting together, you know, put our money together and try. You know, obviously we have no idea where this would lead, but if we don't try, we would never know, right? So we're still exploring how we would create this syndicate, because I don't give up. I think we can do it. It's probably not going to be Her Fund syndicate, but we want to benchmark, see who are the people outside there who are willing to team up with us, open the door to the network, and those ladies in our network, those participating in our training, but also beyond, who wants to invest, who wants to learn, and how can we do it together? So I think syndication, crowdfunding, there's another idea of now, like, you know, job shadowing with investors and testing, you know. I mean, if we never test, we will never know. So I think we should, and this has been said all the time during this conference, we should just do it and dare to take that step. honestly, I have no idea where this will lead, but if we don't try, we will never know. So.
Well, and we did some research that what kind of networks of this kind exist, syndicates. We did find a few examples, but we have to tell you that at the moment there isn't actually a process, there isn't a clear pathway to form these syndicates, especially if you want to create also a momentum for some of the gaps that we have in the ecosystem. So this is one of the things we've identified and we wanted to share with you. What we will do is we will propose, and we've already discussed with some of the other projects, that this will be an initiative across all of the EU-funded gender investment projects that will strengthen yet another side of the ecosystem and an avenue for investment. Thank you for that, Anne-Charlotte. Now I would like to ask Boriana. Boriana, only 9% of the assets under management in Europe are managed by female GPs. And I think you were one of those that is actually in the position, is a GP. Yet funds with more women in leadership, we were saying, are showing higher returns. Why do you think the data isn't converting into capital? Could you have some suggestions on how to actually personally navigate LP conversations around gender-lens investment, or how to create more opportunities for women to join such initiatives? And I also wanted to refer to a special program that you have at VU Venture Partners for this to grow, the university. Just because you're not here, I'm
going to be very fast in my answer. Why is it only 9%? I would say that today's women are very lucky, just like I felt lucky when I was starting out in investments, that we have had other women walking before us and breaking the barriers. There is a preconception, misconception. My family was horrified when I said I want to do investment. They begged me to continue with maybe ballet or maybe something more female-like. So we are out of the dark ages, and but we have to prove ourselves. When I see a woman founder coming with a proposal, I know that she has done 10 times, if not more, the work that is needed. I know that she will get a suggestion from before I even finish my sentence, and I know that I'm going to be very successful as her investor. However, what I have seen is that a lot of women fear approaching us. And that is why I was saying I had no idea that there is such an exceptional program, that there has been a start of something that can tomorrow for a lot of women in Europe. We have just recently started our fund. We entered Bulgaria and Eastern Europe last year around December, January, started work. And this time I have seen maybe 300 pitches, and they were male dominated, and I have had only 3 female founders reach out to me. And I'm currently working with a female founder in Armenia, asking myself, are there no female founders in Bulgaria or in the Baltics? Is it a question of not knowing that there are also female VCs here? I have no idea. We do have programs, and we are very committed to helping. Well, diversity is important, and women are just as important part of everything VU Venture Partners does. Actually, when you were talking about a possible syndicate, female backing syndicate internationally, I would be more than happy to talk about that afterwards. As you know, Milena, we have an international syndicate with nearly 7,000 investors. I'm certain
That
I
was
can
one of
help
the
make-
things I wanted that you say. Yes,
I'm
yes.
certain I can help and reach out. Believe me, there are a lot of women out there that are willing to invest because they're investing in the future of their daughters or their daughters-in-law or their granddaughters. It doesn't matter. But I think women should understand you are worth it. You have proven yourselves. I'm not anti male right now, but as women, we know we are quite capable of multitasking. This is actually our first nature. We manage everything. We manage homes, we manage businesses, we manage our children, we manage the whole neighborhood. Just reach out for everything and anything you want or you need. And even if it is just, can you put us in touch with, I don't know, some big name in the Silicon Valley? Just call, just write.
I think it's one of actually of the challenges is that you are not known. Thank you for saying all of this, Boriana, and also for being willing. In Europe, in fact, there aren't such syndicates structured. So this is, again, the experience and the support from more mature ecosystems. We can learn, and thank you for being able to lend a hand and to support us in this. You also have a special program which is called VU Venture University, and I was referring to this that it's a very unique opportunity to learn to become an investor. It's something that is specific, is rare. It is one of the very few, actually it is VU Venture Partners that has such a program. And we've discussed with Boriana that this could be something we could try to develop with a special focus for the region or for Europe.
Or for female investors.
For female investors. So thank you for that. I would
You're
like
welcome.
to ask a similar question, ask Maria a similar question. Maybe you could also suggest how would you be how do you think that the data isn't converting into capital? Can you share maybe something from the work that you are doing or been seeing with some of the funds? Mm-hmm. Why are they not investing? And why isn't this, despite of the fact that people know they're actually not turning this into capital?
Yes, thank you for the question. I've been listening very attentively. This is extremely interesting also for me, even though I'm in the sector and there's so much going on. So it's really, really interesting panel. So indeed, it is striking the level of female founders and what we just learned, just 3-4 women-led entrepreneur companies and women entrepreneurs reaching out of hundreds. It is strange to me because so the data clearly shows. I'm taking this from European Women in VC because it is one of the go-to sources when it comes to venture capital and women and gender diversity, particularly in investment. Clearly, it says that 9 out of 10 VCs and LPs prefer to, invest in diverse teams. So, and that leads to financial results. It's all great, But in the end of the day, we get these results, like just few women-led businesses or even diverse. We're not even talking about women-led companies, but just diverse teams. And at the same time, we have only 16% of, women GPs in Europe. So that's not ambitious. I think we all agree. I think that what really needs to be done and changed, actually, if we segment it, if we go to, so that's Europe, right? And if we try to look into particular markets, for example, Bulgaria, I work in Bulgaria, I work with Bulgarian private equity and venture capital funds. We do have good examples. I don't dare say it's 50-50 when it comes to women GPs, but we do have examples, thank
Yes.
God, at least we have that.
And I think in this we're actually ahead of some of the other ones
Yes.
in the region.
Yes,
at least
absolutely.
in the region.
You're
we
absolutely
know.
right. But yet we observe this, that they, at least in Bulgaria, and we're speaking about the majority of cases, when it comes to women-led teams or diverse teams, it's usually in femtech, right?
Yes.
So it's menopause, it's very, very particular female, like female health, you know, very particular issues. When we see DACH region or Austria, as I mentioned, I was part of Female Factor, mentoring women and girls. Again, we see like there is a positive tendency, so there is an increase of you know, supporting female founders, but still the percentage is very low. And again, like it's I believe from I don't know, 11% to 12, you know, something like this, on the top of my head. So it's really, it's slowly but surely, I hope. But again, it's quite low. So to kind of conclude on these statistics, I think from my personal point of view, but it also like professional-wise and what I just shared, I think that we need to do two main things. Of course, there's a lot we can do, and there's a lot more problems to tackle, etc., etc. But maybe in the core, it's really involve women in business, in decision-making processes, really. Not just position them as, you know, like a partner in a VC firm, for example, but really be a board member, have equity, have carry, be a decision maker, be on the investment committee, really take those decisions. I think this would make a real difference. And the second part is mentorship and social circles. We touched upon this already. I think that Geni mentioned previously about this event where I was personally at another one in Europe that was similar, you know.
And
mainly
again, it was the same experience,
mainly,
right?
yeah, male predominant in private equity and venture capital. And I think that the social circles and the mentorship is really important. We still have, how to put this mildly, these clubs that originated for the gentlemen's clubs in the UK, where we have these high net individuals, you know, predominantly male, etc., very closed circles, etc., etc. And the investment sphere, I think, is very dominated by that. I mean, we're trying to change that, but I think the social element is very important. And to sum up, I think that it's very, very important. It's great what you are doing in regard to really mentoring girls and women and really empowering them, because this is what makes a difference, I think.
Thank you, Maria. Actually, today in the room we have other examples, and I'm going to be a little bit disruptive and turn to Gerd. Yes, because he gave another example, and maybe we could have this as a shared conversation. And you said, come to us. You actually represent a different. You could come join me on stage. Thank you. You said you are, in fact, seeing less women, join, but on the other hand, we're seeing at most of these activities. Could it be that it's also a mismatch in terms of where VC and in general capital is being invested in a different life cycle in type of companies, and women usually represent companies or have passion for solving certain challenges that cannot be resolved overnight and longer life cycle or more sustainable.
Yeah. So when you look at it, you get different sectors. There's a lot of statistics out there. I'm not really happy with the statistics, but you see that women outperform in health tech. I know a femtech founder that is solving exactly the issue that you talked about in Canada. She's highly successful, but women founders are more successful, for instance, in edtech. But they're underrepresented in AI, they're underrepresented in cybersecurity, and those are very often very successful sectors or very successful unicorns and exits. Basically, you have to choose, on the one hand side, you have to choose the right sector, but it's what I said before in the keynote. It's not about only creating a business case, it's about like you living your passion.
But it's also maybe, I'm just thinking aloud now. Could it be that it's a question that we are ahead of our time in the sense that we want to solve sustainability challenges, we want to solve social challenges, health tech, women-led, and it's just the investors didn't catch up to this.
The investors
investors
are definitely overlooking an opportunity here.
Yes.
So that's what I said. This is what I'm clearly for. But the one thing is, women bootstrap much more.
Yeah.
So my recommendation to female founders is go out much earlier into networks, and then please feel free to go into female networks. But overall, I discourage from only mixing and mingling in female networks, because you will face men out there. We will be harsh, and as I said, it's not personal, it's kind of professional, but create connections in the networks. There's, I don't know, Brava Angels, Alma Angels, and so on. So you have different organizations. Go in there, just talk to them. Don't go in there with the thought and the idea behind, I want to have an investment in the next 3 months or something like that, but just go in to build a network. And that creates also awareness of yourself, because if the 18-year-old Bulgarian Sofia that was sitting here on the panel beforehand does not speak on the panel, I would not know about her. I mean, I had a chat outside with her when I came back.
Yes.
So you have to make yourself visible. That's more important than the investor finding you. I mean, I'm looking basically, I'm in diamond business, so I'm looking for uncut diamonds. And then in the terms of the business model and business idea, what we want to do is we want to shape it, but we cannot find you if you're not visible. Make yourself visible. Shout out.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Gerd, for that perspective. I also am hearing something else from your words, that actually women also need to start thinking more fashionably which are the trends and get into those rather than be persistent only on to the things that matter to them as sustainability. But that's a good point. Yes?
Can I tap up on that? Do you want to really solve a trend?
Yes.
Solve a pain point. Solve something that is out there in the market that does not work right now. Like I talked about the burnouts, and the guy experienced the burnout. He had a very successful second startup, very successful exit. Since then he lives in Ibiza. But the problem that he had is he had a burnout. So he said, okay, I'm going to tackle that issue. And now some other healthcare or health tech startups come out. So don't go for a trend. Don't go for something. If there's no market out there, listen to what I said before. If there's no market out there, validate the market. There is AI, playful environments where you can validate your business model. You can bring it up to a certain moment and then validate it in the market with people that you talk to. So that's also one thing that, in my opinion, is very important. Don't go out with an idea.
I think we hear you. It was more about the point that women usually invest in deep tech, in biotech, in system, and it seems like the VCs are not yet there, majority. You are more on the part of the outliers, I think, still. But thank you for being there. We thank you for being with us.
Yeah, but think about the way, from our perspective, how we find the startups. And I was 3 weeks back. I was at GT5 Europe in Berlin. Last week I was in London at London Tech Week. Beginning of the week I was in Romania at the Unchained FinTech Festival. This is where I find the startups. you have to approach us, you have to come to us, you have to speak out, you have to come on a stage, you have to go for pitches. Don't go for the pitches to get
This
investors.
is why we're creating this forum, and we'll do more of those. Thank you for that contribution. You can stay here if you'd like. And I just would like to turn to Alia, because she's having, you have the, okay. She's having these insights in the conversations with women and the research you are doing. I know you are working mostly on how to negotiate better, but actually negotiating better is part of the telling your story and the pitch. What are you noticing? Are women really not telling, being vocal about the story and how to get more funding? Or do you see another insight as to how to improve
there are quite a few nuances and layers to this. So beyond going, ask and you shall be given mantra, which is very important, of course. And particularly something I really want to emphasize on, especially when it comes to networking. Men are endorsed based on their potential, and women are endorsed based on their track record. So if you're a woman, you really need to prove some kind of success in order to get some kind of a push. And that's very difficult in the early stages, because in the early stages, when you're pre-seed, seed startup, we invest in the team, we invest in the potential of the person, we invest, of course, to some extent to in their background, but you cannot like tell me that a 20-year-old something male from USL or Stanford has huge track record apart from coming from a very wealthy family. I'm sorry, but that's just the case. So it's very difficult to break that ceiling. That's one. The other thing that I notice a lot in the conversations is, well, there are quite a few things, but beyond the having to prove yourself, there are two elements to that. So we talk a lot about how we want more women in the decision-making positions, but this trend of believing in the potential comes both from women and men. So, and this comes from education. I just want really to go deeper into that. It comes down to education, because we expect from girls to exceed in school. We very much expect them to be diligent, but boys are more chaotic, more messier, and we still call them visionaries, which translates later into life. So it starts very, very early, and it's then translates into the boardrooms and etc. There's a lot of different contexts. So it's one thing in Eastern Europe, it's another thing in Western Europe. In Eastern Europe, I believe women are more pushier, and they do try more than in Western Europe. That's my observation so far. We do have in Bulgaria, like women are in the top, so Bulgaria is in the top countries of women on leadership positions, which is also quite interesting. And another thing as a pattern is that we have to discuss family. What I mean by that is usually we don't get funding, especially if we are between 25 and 32, if we don't have children, because the question on the table is, when are you going to have children? And what is happening?
Making things very risky for us.
So yeah. I don't think it makes a service to get offended by this question. It just does not. You have to have a plan. I mean, if you want to have a startup, you're going to carry a child for 12 months and then you're not going to sleep for 12 to 24 months. And that is a huge risk. And those people are investing money and you are investing time and you have team. So you have to have a plan and you have to discuss that with your partner. And it's a very important conversation. I've noticed a very concerning notion in the United States. So in the United States, apparently whenever a woman gets pregnant, especially in corporations, she tells only her senior managers and she doesn't tell the rest of the team because there's this belief that the rest of the team will have to work harder and that's why they won't like her or something like that. This comes in probably 20 interviews I've already had. We have this privilege in Eastern Europe that we usually, like, whenever I find out that someone is pregnant, like, we give them gifts, we're very happy, etc. So here we do have that not a big problem. But if you are taking investment from Western VCs, that's a topic you do have to put on the table, because they are already thinking it by themselves. They're discussing it by themselves. It's an uncomfortable topic. I recognize that, but it's a very important one, and you have to have a plan to that. And yes, that's pretty much like those two are the most interesting things. So the potential thing and the discussing the family part as well.
Yeah, thank you. I find this very relevant also in the conversations we've had, that there are some of these biases and also restrictions that we put on ourselves. Geni, I want to ask you, I know that you are not part of a formal structure, but you've been already thinking, investing in women. Is there any particular, let's say, reform or recommendation you would have, be it to the system for the deal flow, or be it to the investors, that you would make? I mean, what would be the one thing, if you could think of something that could change the system? You already gave one example. So we should be more proactive in speaking out for ourselves. But is there something you see specific as a way to tip the balance in another direction?
I'm particularly happy to be here and what Charlotte presented, because I would like to talk about training the investors, so the women investors. Because, for example, nobody trained me. I mean, I'm just trained by my daily life and my lifetime experience, right? But I think I would achieve much more if somebody's really trained me how to do it better. So the next step of her fund with, you said scale her, right? I really love it. I already registered, by the way. So I'll be the one to reach out. So I think we need to be more structured and more, okay, definitely more visible, much more visible. We need to be brave enough, as I said. But if there are instruments, we know where to reach. And how to get there, and also to see the support, because sometimes we are hesitant that, okay, there are some organizations, okay, you can go there, but so what? Nobody probably could help you. So, and I said, I was speaking about communication. So we really need to focus on how to communicate the successful examples, the role models much better, because those are our champions. And we don't have so many women entrepreneurs champions, right? And also in the startups. You're totally right about this age when you just mentioned 25, 35, for example. I think men are more about fake it till you make it. We need to make it first and then to speak about it, right? And then we are still not sure if we made it. Actually, is it okay? So, and it's all about training. So we need to have more platforms to communicate them much better, and also to show them the results, because sometimes there are so many like close communities which are not reaching out to the wide audience. And I think this is the change we need desperately. And then there will be many, many more women we even don't know where they, so they can reach out and say, come on, I need help. And even sometimes it's not just about money. It's not about money. Capital is not, I don't think it's an issue. There is plenty of money. Yeah, I think money is not the issue, because even if you get them, you can spend them, and then you still have no money, right? So I think the main point is, who is your mentor, whom you can call when you are really, really in trouble. And then you can get advice, a real advice, a practical advice. So who can be there for you when you need it. I think this is much more important than the capital, because we're just speaking about absolutely. So where is this pool of people you can reach out?
So it's like a product market fit between what is needed and what you have to offer.
Sure.
Okay? Yeah.
Yep.
First statement, 10% of the unicorns in Europe are female-led. They only come out in the last few years. So that is a late trend. So be positive. it's going to work out. The other thing is, I'm really sorry that I don't know right now who it was, whether it was Canva, the founder of Canva, or the founder of Bumble, or whatever. That's unicorns, female-led, female-founded unicorns. She stayed at she was at the New York Stock Exchange. When the bell rang, she had her baby in the arm.
Wow.
It was Canva. It was Canva. It was the Canva founder. That is not a downside. If a male investor tells you that this is going to hold you back, he's got no clue. So don't let yourself
if I can
go
add
off.
up to this one, so it's a very interesting trend from the interviews that we made. Women, a lot of women, like most of them actually said that they became much more successful after finding the right partner and after having kids, because now they didn't ask for themselves, they asked for their family. So having a child while running a company, I believe, is a superpower as long as you have the right support. So this is very important point as well, yeah.
Okay, super. I think this is a very optimistic way to end it. I have one question to all of you with one sentence, okay? If you had €1 billion gender lens fund that you could start, you have tomorrow, it's available to you, 1 billion. What would be the first thing to do, you would do? You have the money.
I would invest in GPs, more female GPs, so they can allocate how they think is properly. The second way, I would create a venture studio with which I would co-create companies with female founders from the creator economy and marketing, because both of these industries gave a lot of opportunities to women, and they solve a very important problem for tech founders, which is they have the distribution channels and they can test and iterate ideas quite fast.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you. And Charlotte?
Yeah, I mean, obviously building on that, I think I would invest in the ecosystem, making sure that we have the right structures, the right network, and then we open the right doors to women. Of course, having more women leading the fund, being at the table, taking the decision, this is extremely important if we want to make a change.
Okay, Maria?
I'm repeating what you already said, but indeed, it's same for me. I would definitely invest either as starting my own fund or directly into startups and scale-ups in diverse teams that are solving real problems.
Okay, Bobby? You have the
Well,
1 billion, right?
Yes,
where do you start?
It will be maybe coming as a surprise. The billion is neither going to buy me more connections, nor will I be just appointing women to be fund managers because they're women. They would be already there if they have the ability. All I'm going to do is most likely run ads in all the major newspapers in the world, big one-page ads, where I'm saying, women only fund. Please call and just the number.
Thank you. Okay, great. Jenny?
I think I went and combining everybody's communication, as just Brianna said, but also TikTok, Instagram, Shorts, right? Not just the ads there, but all the modern channels of communication. I keep speaking about this, and infrastructure. So we need the ecosystem and infrastructure so we can base on solid foundation for future unicorns, and we hope next decade to be much more than 10%.
Yes, well, thank you. And Gerd, you, since you're on the panel?
All right, the thing that I would do is actually $1 billion, a lot of money, so I would draw up a strategy first of all, how to implement that. But I would rather try to get into the networks in the single countries, because $1 billion would go all over Europe, and I would tap into all the entrepreneurship academies that are out there. I would tell them, okay, for the female founders that you have, you get everything, create your own fund there that starts from pre-seed all the way up, and that's the way I would approach it most likely.
Thank you. We need to build the deal flow. Thank you all for being part of this discussion, and thank you for really contributing.